Bryan Johnson just spent $2 million a year trying not to die. And his latest obsession? Saunas. But here's the crazy part. His protocol nearly destroyed him for 2 weeks straight. I'm Austin, CEO of Peak Saunas, and I've been in this industry for a while now. When I saw his results, I had to pause the video 3 times because there are some serious red flags that could land you in the hospital. But there's also some brilliant insights that most people are completely missing. What's even more fascinating is that Bryan's incorporating red light therapy into his sauna sessions, something we've been pioneering at Peak Saunas for years. We were one of the first companies to integrate medical-grade red light panels directly into our sauna designs. And now we're seeing why this combination is absolutely revolutionary for recovery and longevity. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why his approach worked for him, but could be dangerous for 90% of people watching this. You'll also discover why the red light therapy component might be the most important part of his entire protocol that no one's talking about. Before we dive into the protocol, let's talk about who Bryan Johnson really is and why his approach to saunas matter. This isn't just another rich guy trying weird health hacks. Bryan sold his company for $800 million and is now spending $2 million per year on what he calls Project Blueprint, essentially trying to reverse aging using every scientific method available. The man measures everything: heart rate variability, blood biomarkers, sleep quality, and even the speed of his aging process. He's turned his body into a human laboratory, and that's exactly why his sauna experiment is so valuable. Most people try saunas for a few weeks and give up. Bryan committed to measuring every single variable for months. But here's what makes his approach unique. He's not just doing traditional sauna therapy. He's combining it with red light therapy, precise temperature control, and biometric tracking that most people could never afford. The question is, can we extract the valuable lessons without the $2 million budget? Let's start with the mistake that nearly sent Bryan to the ER with cramps.
Wow. So Bryan, you were experiencing cramps in the middle of the night. Can you talk about your rehydration protocol?
Yeah. So the first 3 days, I did not replenish enough with electrolytes. So we've been making this Blueprint electrolyte product. And like all things, we want to source our own ingredients and test them and not be subject to other people's processes. And we were trying to figure out how much I would need for sodium intake and potassium and magnesium. And so I was supplementing a few hundred milligrams of sodium, and then I think it was like 100 or 200 of potassium, 60 to 100 of magnesium, somewhere on there. And I started having these intense, like the most intense cramps I've ever had in my life. I would like wake up and just have to jump out of bed because it was excruciating, and walk it off, and it just happened repeatedly. And so then Mike, I've reported the side effect to Mike.
Okay, pause right there. This is exactly what I see with a lot of new sauna users who jump in too aggressively. Bryan was sweating 18 ounces in 20 minutes. That's nearly 2.5 cups of fluid. Most people don't even drink that much water in an hour, let alone lose it in sweat. But here's what's brilliant about his approach. He actually measured it. Look at this Gatorade patch he used. Most people just guess their hydration needs. Bryan found out he's losing 600 to 700 milligrams of sodium per session. That's like eating 3 bags of chips worth of salt he needs to replace. The mistake? He started supplementing randomly without knowing his baseline. Classic biohacker error. Optimize first, measure second, when it should be the opposite. This is why we always tell our Peak Sauna customers to start with basic hydration protocols before diving into complex supplementation. What's interesting is that his cramps got worse at night, not during his sauna session. This tells us his body was trying to recover from the electrolyte imbalance for hours after the session ended. Your sauna session doesn't end when you walk out. The recovery process continues for 6 to 8 hours. Now here's where Bryan's protocol gets really interesting, and where Peak Saunas has been ahead of the curve for years. Bryan commonly uses red light therapy, but again, you probably don't have enough time to spend half an hour in the sauna working out and then more time doing red light therapy. At Peak Saunas, we were one of the first companies to integrate medical-grade red light panels directly into the saunas. While other companies were still selling traditional saunas, we recognized that the future of sauna therapy was in combination treatments. Our mix of full-spectrum panels with red light therapy delivers the same wavelengths Bryan's using, but they're built right into the sauna structure. Here's why this combination works so well. The heat from the sauna increases blood flow and opens up your pores, which allows the red light to penetrate even deeper into your tissues. Meanwhile, the red light is stimulating collagen production, reducing inflammation, and accelerating recovery at the cellular level. It's like having a high-end recovery clinic in your own home. Bryan's seeing the benefits in skin health, muscle recovery, and even cognitive function from this combination. What took him multiple expensive devices, we've integrated into a single seamless system. This is why our customers are reporting faster recovery times, better sleep quality, and improved skin health compared to traditional sauna-only protocols. Here's where Bryan's approach gets controversial, and where most people would make a dangerous mistake.
Well, like you want to step into this, so he did 140. So I turned the sauna on, and when I got finished working out, I went out there, and I was like, oh damn, it's 140, not 200.
Oh, no.
You preset the temperature. I was like, I don't have enough time to wait for it to heat up to 200. So I was like, I'll just do it. And I got in at 140, and I was like, I don't feel anything.
Nothing.
Is this thing even on? So it's pretty amazing to see how fast my body's adapted to this heat. And like 140 wouldn't even make me flinch. I mean, I took 20 minutes. I don't think I even worked up a sweat for the entire time.
This is the key insight everyone's missing. Bryan went from being destroyed at 200 degrees Fahrenheit to feeling nothing at 140. His body didn't just adapt. It completely transformed its heat tolerance. But here's the problem. 90% of people would quit after day 2 at 200 degrees. Mike even admits they should have started Bryan easier. The research shows benefits start at 180 degrees, but they also show that consistency beats intensity. I've seen too many people try to copy Bryan's extreme protocols and burn out completely. The magic isn't in the 200 degrees. It's in doing it every single day for 2 weeks. Heat adaptation is real, but it takes time. Your body needs to build up heat shock proteins gradually, not shock them into submission. Let's talk about Bryan's actual results, because they're pretty incredible.
We also got a central blood pressure device. So this is like you're getting your blood pressure done at the doctor. They put the cuff, but this one does central blood pressure. It's looking at the following things. It's looking at central systolic blood pressure, central pulse pressure, augmentation pressure, and then something called SEVR. And so I've been doing that on a regular basis, measuring myself in the morning. And that gave us a nice baseline. Actually, we can go over those as baseline measurements. So we have here the measurement from baseline, and then we have a measurement with 7 sessions. And you see, for example, in central blood pressure, there was almost a 6% improvement. I started at 103, and after 7 sessions was down to 97. Central pulse pressure went down from 28 to 22, a 21% improvement. And then you see the other ones like the augmentation pressure, augmentation index. Mike, what's your take on, after 7 sessions, some pretty meaningful changes in vascular health? And to give context on what these things mean, for example, like when the central systolic blood pressure comes down from 103 to 97, it means that there's 5.83% less pressure around my heart and my brain and other organs throughout my body. When my central pulse pressure drops from 28 to 22, it's a 21% increase in the flexible aorta, so it's less load on my heart. And then the augmentation pressure change from 2 to 1, it indicates decrease in arterial stiffness. So it's like increase in aortic compliance. And so like these are really big numbers. I mean, like if I'm a heart and I'm going about my daily activities, and all of a sudden my life gets 5 to 20% better, that's a really big difference on my daily activity being a heart.
Okay, let's pause it right there. This is exactly why I respect Bryan's approach, even if I think his methods are extreme. Look at these numbers. After just 7 sessions, he saw a 6% improvement in central systolic blood pressure, dropping from 103 to 97. That's nearly 6% less pressure around his heart, brain, and organs. But here's the number that blew my mind. His central pulse pressure dropped from 28 to 22. That's a 21% improvement in aortic flexibility. Let me put this in perspective. Your aorta is the main highway for blood leaving your heart. When it becomes more flexible, your heart doesn't have to work as hard to pump blood throughout your body. Most people think blood pressure is just one number, but Bryan's measuring central blood pressure, the pressure closest to your heart and brain. This is way more important than the arm cuff measurement you get at the doctor's office. Central blood pressure is a much better predictor of cardiovascular events. Here's what's crazy. These changes happened in just 7 sessions. Most cardiovascular studies take months or years years to show meaningful results. The fact that Bryan saw 21% improvement in pulse pressure in less than 2 weeks suggests that sauna therapy works faster than we thought. What's really interesting is that we can combine his red light therapy that has been shown in other videos with his sauna method, providing an all-in-one for improved cardiovascular benefits. This is why we're seeing such incredible results with our integrated red light sauna systems. Customers are reporting better sleep, improved recovery, and even better mood within just a week of consistent use. Before we wrap up, let's talk about the mistakes that could land you in the hospital if you try to copy Bryan's protocol exactly. First mistake, starting out too hot, too fast. Bryan had medical supervision and still suffered for 2 weeks. Most people don't have a medical team on standby. Start at 160 to 180 and work your way up over weeks, not days. Second mistake, ignoring hydration and electrolytes. Bryan learned this the hard way with those brutal cramps. Start supplementing with electrolytes before you feel the need, not after you're already depleted. Third mistake, not listening to your body. Bryan pushed through because he had constant monitoring. If you feel dizzy, nauseous, or get a headache, get out immediately. The sauna will still be there tomorrow. The biggest mistake, thinking you need to suffer to get results. Bryan's extreme approach worked for him because he had the resources to push through the adaptation period safely. You can get 90% of the benefits with 50% of the suffering by being smarter about your approach. Here's what Bryan Johnson's $2 million biohacking budget taught us about saunas and why you need to ignore 90% of what he did. Bryan got incredible results, but he also suffered for 2 weeks, disrupted his sleep, and needed ice packs on his balls to make it work. The real lesson isn't about copying Bryan's protocol, it's about finding your optimal protocol. That's why we created our sauna quiz. It takes 2 minutes, considers your health status, experience level, and goals, and then gives you a personalized protocol that actually works for your life. Plus, it'll tell you whether our revolutionary red light integrated saunas are right for your specific needs. And because you watched it this far, we're giving you $200 off any Peak sauna when you take the quiz. This includes our red light integrated models that gives you the same combination therapy Bryan's using, but in a system designed for daily home use. The link is in the description below. Remember, Bryan Johnson spends $2 million a year optimizing his health. You don't need to spend $2 million, but you also don't need to suffer for 2 weeks to get results. Find your protocol and not someone else's. Take the quiz, get your $200 discount, and start your sauna journey the right way. The future of sauna therapy is here, and it includes red light therapy as a standard feature, not an expensive add-on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.